Okay, we'll call the regular city council meeting for Tuesday, January 19th to order. If everyone would please join me in the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First item on our agenda is a consent calendar.
Mr. Chair, I think that we have a revised agenda.
Yes, okay. Does everyone have the revised agenda? Here, you should have it. Okay. Okay, still the consent calendar is the first.
I'd move the consent calendar on the revised agenda.
I'll second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next item for, on the agenda is open forum. This is time for public comment. If there's anything on the agenda that someone wishes to comment on, you can do so at that time. If it's not on the agenda and you'd like to make a comment, now is your time. There is a 5-minute limit. Thank you. And just step forward and state your name and where you're from.
Good evening, council. I'm Terry Hansen. I work for the city for over 19 years now in the Parks and Rec Department. I'm not going to stay till this comes up on your calendar down farther, but Jenny has shared with the employees drafts of the personnel policy manual and what they're looking at to add for retirement options. I just have a few concerns and questions, but I'd like to maybe visit within the next week with either the mayor or Councilman Krautkramer, as I'll be gone on vacation while you guys are talking about this in February.
Absolutely. When would you, if you want to set a time, I'll make myself, and I'm sure Osh can too, I'll be make myself disposed to you when it works for you. And did you want to meet with myself and Jenny then? Would that work? Or just with us?
Good. That's either way.
Okay. I just don't want, I just don't want to have my mind or forget something that you bring up. I just want to make sure that what is said is relayed to, the party, everyone accordingly. So.
Just next week.
Okay.
Sometime, whenever your schedule is available.
I will make my schedule work for
I'll
you, Terry.
make mine work too, Terry, next week. So
Okay.
So whichever.
get us today and we'll be there.
If one of the other council members can make it and instead of myself, I'm good with that. Can set it up what works best for all of you. Is that good?
Sure.
Yeah,
All right,
just let us
thank
know.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Yep, you bet.
Is there anyone else for open forum? Seeing none, we'll close open forum. Next is reports. City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor Ryan. Good evening, members of the council. Just a couple of items. I just wanted to briefly mention or give the council an update on the tree at the roundabout that was cut down. We have received some great support from the community looking to help the city and potentially replanting a tree. And what I wanted to just share with the community was that we're going to be working on what our options are, looking to do something this spring. And also potentially looking at maybe some upgrades as far as landscaping at the Pocket Park area. So we may just take this opportunity to look at a little bit bigger project and see what we can do there. So I just wanted to, first of all, just thank everyone who's expressed support and interest in what we can do for that. And stay tuned. We will be sharing more information as the appropriate season comes to look at that more. So I just wanted to update the council on that. And then Mayor Ryan, depending on, I don't know if you want to discuss the council appointment process, the council vacancy appointment process now or later on the agenda, that's up to you. But we had discussed talking about some options with the council for the next steps.
Okay, we can do it now. With that,
Okay.
is that okay? Yeah.
So at this time, we have 3 applications received for our vacant city council seat. The opening, as far as letters being submitted, goes through the end of the month. And what we'd like to do is offer the suggestion of setting a special council meeting early in February, inviting all of those who have submitted letters to come for an informal, I'll say interview, but really maybe 2 or 3 questions from the council. We'll set those ahead of time, just for the council to get to know the applicants in a little more detail. And then the council would then hopefully, make an offer of appointment to one individual that we would then make official at the February meeting.
Just so everyone knows, I spoke with Jenny about this a little bit. Just a short summary from the individuals that apply, where they're from, their background, et cetera. And then the questions, if we have ideas for questions that we'd like to see answered, submit them to her. She'll pick 3 and, pick relevant questions. If you have anything that you want to talk to her about specifically, just go ahead and get a hold of her and let her know. And then you'll put that together. That was kind of what we were thinking, and do it right away in February so that we can have a full council for our February meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we have a special city council meeting to be the date and time to be determined by the mayor and the city administrator to discuss the vacancy on the city council.
I second it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
So just at the special meeting, we'll kind of plan on trying to decide at that time who we pick at that one, all at the same meeting, right, Jenny?
That'd be my suggestion, yes.
Yeah. No, if we can.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, it makes perfect sense.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
That's all I have.
Okay. City attorney is not here today. Did he forward anything to you, Jenny, that he wanted brought up?
No, he did not.
Okay. Mark Allen, city engineer.
Good evening, everyone. I say I have several items under the new business that were there. I guess I'd just like to take this time right now to thank you to the city for our reappointment as your city engineer. Take the opportunity, and your city administrator did ask some tough questions and good questions as we work through the agreement. So, that we have the understanding too. It's not, even though it is for that period, 3-year period, we have to answer to the city staff, on a weekly basis. So, but again, thanks for and I also want to thank Tom and the, city staff for their support as we continue to work with them.
Okay.
All right.
Very good. Okay, that brings us to new business. E1, a request from John Boberg, reference waiving the after-the-fact fees. Jenny, did you want to explain or just?
I would just invite Mr. Boberg up to maybe share a little bit about what his request is.
John?
Okay. Yes, good evening, council. It's pretty straightforward. You probably read what I sent ahead of time. I hope you did. But if you did, yeah, started a rental car business on an existing commercial property. And I guess that's one thing I did not mention is that it was an existing commercial property and I did not know that a cup was required. But I did visit here to get permission for a sign and made it clear to the planning and zoning person at that time I was starting a new rental car business. Nothing was said about the need for a cup, and so I felt I was good as far as I was concerned. Of course, then planning and zoning discovered that, hey, after a couple of years, they discovered that, hey, there's a rental car business in town. They should have a cup. And so then there was a fine for after-the-fact fees. And I have no problem paying for the conditional use permit. I'd just like to see those fines waived because I felt like the previous planning and zoning administrator probably should have pointed that out to me at that time.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we waive the $1,800 in fines as long as John pays the cup fee, which he says he will, and I know he will. I feel, 100% right that should have been brought up at that time.
Okay.
Well, I'll second the motion with this discussion.
Yes, discussion.
by waiving the fee doesn't mean that you're approved. You still have to apply for a CUP, come in and pay the regular fee and go through the whole process, just as though nothing had happened before. So it's just so you understand
Yeah,
that.
yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Mark, anything? Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Let's see, number 2 is the recommendation from the planning commission reference the final plat for ETOC. Brittany, did you want to come up and explain what that is, or does any?
The final plat has been looked at by both our city engineer and our city attorney. It's in substantial conformance with the preliminary plat. The only differences should be, there were a couple changes to the outlots as far as labeling, but the size total is the same. They are within their impervious coverage as well as their open space coverage, so there shouldn't be any concerns in that regard.
Okay. Any questions for Brittany right now? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move approval of the plat of North Pines by ETOC with the conditions attached thereto.
Okay. By the conditions, you mean A?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll second.
No, you mean, I'm sorry, are you talking about E2A?
Yeah,
That's a separate motion?
okay, separate. Okay.
Yep.
So we're just doing on 2.
Number
and then
2.
A is the second.
Yep.
Well, I'll second Don's motion.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. And the next item is 2A.
I'll make a motion to pass the development agreement between the city of Nisswa and ETOC as presented.
Okay,
Development agreement, if I said that.
Yes. Second.
second. Okay, any discussion on that, or is there anything else we need to know?
I do have a quick question for Brittany. Was there any feedback from Mark Ronai on this?
No, I haven't received any,
Okay, I know we sent it to him late last week. I didn't know if he had commented or anything.
no, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, just thought I'd ask. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Very well. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item number 3 is agreement for professional services between the city of Nisswa and the Brainerd Lakes Area Economic Development Corporation for 2021, also known as BLADEC.
I can just note that the fees for these services are included in our 2021 budget, just to refresh the council's memory on that. And this year in 2020, BLADEC was very busy administering grants to our local businesses relating to COVID and the CARES funding and everything. So I just want to thank them for their work on that. They spent a lot of time with that.
That answers my question. What do we get?
Question.
Yes.
What was the fee last year?
Probably 2,600, something like that.
Okay.
Anyone wish to make a motion, or?
I'll make a motion that we pass the agreement for professional services between City of Nisswa and Brainerd Lakes Area Economic Development, otherwise BLADEC, as presented.
Second.
Do we want to make normally this would be Don saying this. Do we want to make an amendment to your motion of not to exceed $2,850 for the year? I'm sorry, Don, I couldn't resist it. So-
But wait till we get to the engineering.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. League of Minnesota Cities Liability Coverage Waiver Form.
This is an annual item that we have the council approve as part of our insurance renewal process, that we do not elect to waive the maximum limits. So we keep them as they are written in our policy.
Okay, yeah.
I'll move that the city of Nisswa chooses not to waive the statutory tort limits as presented by staff.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 5, short form agreement between owner and engineering for professional services between the city of Nisswa, Widseth for Gull Lake Trail.
We would like to request this item be tabled until next month, as the trail committee has more questions, and we want to make sure we have all of our questions answered before we move forward with this, with such a big project.
Very well.
So if the council has any questions for me, please let me know. We'll incorporate that into our review.
Okay.
That's
And-
only for item 5?
Yes.
And we're using the same, us and Lakeshore are working together on this, right? And so we're all, okay. All right, then it's tabled. Do we need to motion to do that or just table it? Okay, anyone?
I'll make a motion to table the short form agreement between the city of Nisswa and Widseth for the Gull Lake Trail Engineering Services till next month.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Change order. Change order
Number
number
6.
4.
Do we need to do
Number
6?
6. Joint
I'm assuming
services.
tabling that too.
Oh,
No.
okay, I got ahead of myself
We
again.
didn't table item 6.
No,
No, we didn't.
we're on 6.
We're on 6.
Joint
Yep.
service agreement between the city of Nisswa and Lakeshore. I'm sorry, I had my papers mixed up.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Yes,
This is for the engineer or for Jenny, either one. It's at the bottom of the first page under the title of cost share. I read that paragraph, it's telling me two different things, and I want to make sure I understand. It's talking about the estimated cost split between the two cities is 50-50. And Lakeshore will pay 50%, we pay 50%. I understand that. But the next paragraph says the final cost of the engineering agreement shall be divided based upon the parties' respective share of the actual quantities recorded each day. Well, is it 50-50 or is it because we have a longer part of the trail that is it's going to be broken up differently than 50-50? It seems to me it's telling me two different things here.
I can answer that. So the answer is actually both. The estimated cost of the trail is roughly 50-50. However, as you go through the actual construction process, there may be more costs incurred by Nisswa or by Lakeshore. And at the end of this, we're going to true up the actual division of costs, and we will apply that percentage to the engineering costs. So ultimately, it could be split a little bit, 51-49 or something like that. And if we're that close, we'll probably call it even. But if there's a substantial difference, then we want the, city to pay for their proportionate share of the project. So we'll make sure to review that to make sure that the costs are appropriate. But for progress billing, it's just easier just to divide it 50-50.
Well, I don't think that answers my question. I'm still confused. The estimated cost split is 50-50. That's what it says in the first sentence.
Right.
And I understand that. And I understand that it's going to cost the city of Nisswa more because we have more territory to cover. I understand that. But if it's going to be 50-50 split, but it's not going to be 50-50 because we're going to pay more. Am I reading it wrong or am I still confused?
Well, Jenny, right now, the spreadsheet that's put together for the two cities, the estimated construction cost, property acquisition taken out of that is for the two cities. For Lakeshore, it's like $1,302,000. For Nisswa, it's $1,307,000. It's like a $5,000 difference. So what Jenny's saying, right, to keep it simple from the start, 50/50 because they're down there within 0.1% with each other. And then, but when you actually do the design, and let's say that, Lakeshore has to work with that bridge crossing with Cass County, if the costs actually end up, once you go through construction, it is two separate projects, and let's say it's a, Lakeshore, they actually ended up at $1.45 million. Well, they'll pay that. Plus then Jenny and Terry will work out, and maybe it'll be a 47.5% and a 52.5%.
Okay.
Lakeshore will pay 52.5, NISBA 47.5. But from the start, gentlemen, and it was so close.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
Jenny and I, Terry, just said let's not try to split hairs right from the start.
Yeah, I was going under the assumption that Lake Shores was so much less that I didn't, the 50/50 didn't sound right.
No,
Okay,
you good question, but like I say, they have got a bridge crossing and they got to work with their lake. They've got their 1.3 X miles is, got some very high ticket items. So it really equals this was, 3.5 mile section.
So basically, in the end, each city will pay for rightfully what
Yes,
theirs is.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
well, Mr. Mayor, I move we enter in a joint services agreement with the city of Lake Shore as presented by staff, subject to its approval also by the city of Lake Shore.
I second that.
Second by Mark. Any further discussion?
I do have, so within this joint agreement, and then if we kind of go with what we tabled, where City of Nisswa will kind of do the engineering, and so when it comes down to if there's an issue with something that's in Lake Shore's part of it, are we responsible because we've kind of done the engineering agreement and it kind of, where does that responsibility fall? Because I really didn't see where that was split there. Am I making sense?
Yes, ultimately, the design aspects for each city will, each city will work with our engineers to go through those details. They'll, assume responsibility for the design and, approve those elements. If there are cost issues or things in each respective city, each respective city has to, work with those costs that we have available, or, how that will play out. Nisswa has basically offered to be the fiscal host for the project, so that we'll get all of the monies in from the grants and we'll pay for the costs and do that just to keep it simpler, one big project as opposed to two smaller projects. From a reporting standpoint, that would be much simpler for all parties involved.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yep.
So if there's an issue after the effect, either with what was done or the workmanship, Lake Shore would stand responsible for Lake Shores. They're making their decisions, and Nisswa would stand responsible for Nisswa's.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Any further questions? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now change order number 4. From Eagle Construction.
All right, Eagle Construction, so far at the wastewater plant, we've, did the, I don't know if you remember, we, as we started up the new aeration system in cell 3, we found the irrigation line that was installed in 1991 underground of carbon steel. It was quite rusty. We talked about this at Public Works, so we made the decision on the fly to have to replace that between Dike 3. So that work was completed by them, and Eagles, provided the summary of the materials and the labor that, comprised, the $19,136.12 that the city, for those additional costs, and replacing about, I think it was 440 feet of 6-inch line through that dike. So that's the one item on this change order, and that's item A. And then item B is the solenoid valves in the 4 new manifolds that are going to serve your new irrigation systems. We need to supply the Burmaid solenoid valves there, so I had Eagle provide that, because in the bid documents, the detail on that drawing incorrectly stated that the valves were being provided by the owner. you already were providing the valves for the 16 existing valve vaults in your existing irrigation system, put it in 1991. They had been purchased back in 2012. We're incorporating them into this project here. And Flat is the technician. When I put my details together, he just copied the note from one and pasted it in the other and didn't read my note that said by contractor, not by owner. I guess just, and the other thing too is summary, right now, we're back to about our original bid price of $4,188,000. Because when we started the project with we switched out the generator and took a credit of about $100,000. And I say we're pretty much done with a lot of the underground work now, so a lot of the larger unknowns. And like you say, and plus there's been, 1, 2, 3, there's been various items. So you're still haven't touched your PFA 5% contingency for this project. And not that you ever have to touch it, but it's there. Your PFA allows you to go up to 5%. Further down on the list, Tom will be talking about, some items, or I will be. But just so you're, for your information, we're, sitting very well here at, 5 months into the project with respect to the construction budget.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
we're $50 difference from the original bid price, so we're holding it pretty good. I'll move change order number 4 between the city of Nisswa and Eagle Construction Company in the amount of $40,749.82.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I'm just going to clarify, because I know this is, but since I wasn't here during all this, but I'm assuming that Tom and Jenny, everything's been checked out and it all's, so.
Very well. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next is change order number from Eagle Construction reference architectural PR2. Something to do with doors and a mezzanine.
Good evening. The doors are really, let me back up. What we're looking to do is, there's 2 existing buildings out at the sewer plant currently, and we're moving the blowers out of the one into a new blower building. And so we're going to have 2 buildings that would not be very easily utilized. So we're putting these double doors in there so that we can get pallets in there with a skid loader. And that's what these doors are. If you're
So this is the old blower building or?
the old blower building, and then the next one to it where Mike's office is.
Okay.
Um,
Is that
it's
the
a-
one they're putting the roof on?
Yes.
Okay.
Both of those buildings, there'll be storage space there, but it'll only have a walkway door. We would feel that putting in these double doors so we can get a full-size pallet in would make them much more usable to us. So we can store pumps and things in there
Okay.
more easily.
So Tom, these are just swinging doors, not a roll-up door?
Yeah, kind of like a.
So there'll be no center post?
There might be a center post that's removable. I'm not sure exactly what they look like. I just know that they're gonna be a double door that can swing open, so you have a 4-foot wide opening.
Okay.
That
Will you be able to
seems-
get the skid steer into the building or just push the pallet into the building?
I believe we'd be able to just put the pallets into the building.
And then do you have a pallet jack to move it from there?
We don't.
Okay.
We may have to invest in one.
What would go in the building?
Mostly what we'd probably be storing in there is the step station pumps that we keep on hand. We order 10 to 20 of those at a time and they come on a pallet. Maybe water meters, could even be sidewalk salt. I don't know exactly what we'll store in there, but there's parts and things that don't really require, they're not used very often, but they take up space. And so this way frees up space where Mike would park his truck, or in our cold storage building where we have the plows and stuff, if we can utilize this space.
It seems kind of expensive for 2 swinging doors, and I'm sure there's probably more work to it than I'm picturing, so I'm not. But would it be more cost effective to put a bigger, larger roll-up door where you could actually drive the skid steer in? Or would that make if it's a few dollars more to make the building that much more usable. And I haven't seen the building, and I kind of didn't understand. I thought this was a change order that was already kind of in place, so I didn't really question it too much
Sure.
now, so I apologize for that.
You're thinking more like something on the gable end where the door could roll up and you could drive it.
Sure, just a bigger access to where, if we're gonna make the change, would we be better off doing that? Am I making sense?
Yeah, this is what Mike had requested, so I guess I kind of went along with it. It seemed like it made sense what he was requesting to me. I'm not sure if it would be a big enough space, even with a bigger door, to operate the skid loader inside of there.
Okay.
The skid loader, while it's not huge, it is fairly good sized.
Okay.
I can look into that, I guess.
I'm just, like I say, I don't even know what building, like I said, I figured this was already kind of approved and kind of a change order type thing that.
I guess, Tom, I could just, Ross, from the existing electrical, we are keeping the electrical switchgear on the one end, and then in the other end, so I'll say on both gable ends, there's still process stuff left. So you
couldn't even.
You couldn't come in either
Okay.
gable end. So what we're
Yeah.
doing is that the masonry buildings we have the existing single door because there's electrical conduit. So our Chris Sutherland came out, looked at it with Mike, and they essentially determined from moving fire extinguishers to this was really the option that would best fit the buildings and allow Mike to use them as he wanted to.
Good enough.
Sorry that was so strenuous to get that.
No, I just, like I said,
It seemed simple at the time, so. Anyway, any other questions for that?
Well, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we move ahead with the double door modifications, not to exceed the $10,513.63.
A second, would the maker of the motion also include the request for the additional 3 working days because of this change order?
Amend that.
So we have an amended motion and a second. Any further discussion? The only thing I think, I'm going to ask Tom, is there going to be, if we can foresee more changes to this, to buildings and stuff, or are we pretty much?
I would think we're getting close to the end on the buildings. They're ahead of schedule, I think, and with the mild winter that we've had. And this isn't a project that's, other than the new building you see going up, there isn't a lot going on in the old building, so I can't anticipate much more that way.
Motion and a second. Do I have all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Number 9, should have received 2 copies of partial payment for Eagle Construction. Jenny? Pay request number 5 from Eagle Construction, reference the wastewater treatment plant.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'll move we approve the payment option number 5 in the amount of $473,500 to Eagle Construction.
I second that.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Questions? No. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Sorry.
Next, we have a request to appoint Christian Hansen and Robert Fear to the Planning and Zoning Commission. That was forwarded us by staff and with their recommendation.
I'll move.
Second.
Very good. Motion and a second. Any, oh yeah, okay, I was reading something wrong. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Right.
Opposed? Carried. We also have a request for council action to appoint Paula West and is it Mata?
Mata, yep.
Mata Agre? Did I say that right?
To be honest, I haven't met her. I don't know. I don't, Agri or
Okay.
Agri, but
To the Parks and Recreation Commission. Again, recommendation from staff. Entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Personnel updates. Looks like it's mostly seasonal and one Zamboni driver has, if anyone wants to drive a Zamboni, talk to Amber. This is your chance to drive the Zamboni down. It's a Zamboni, man. It's everyone wants to drive a Zamboni.
Has it got a reverse in it?
I don't know. I've never driven a Zamboni.
Never driven one either. I'll make a motion to pass the personnel updates as presented.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Recommendation from Chief Taylor to move Matthew Thompson from probationary to permanent status. He's been here a year.
Mr. Mayor, on basis of the recommendation by the chief of police, move.
I second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. 14, personnel policy update and draft retirement incentive policy. Jenny?
I provided these documents to the council for your information at this time. I would like and appreciate any comments or feedback you have on the proposed changes. The personnel policy has been reviewed by our labor attorney and updated for any legal language or improvements to verbiage that they felt were appropriate. And then we, Jonathan and I conducted 2 staff meetings to have a question and answer, provide some feedback to us, which was very helpful. And at this time, I wanted to provide this to the council for your review, since there's a lot of information here. My request would be I will include this in the February agenda for hopefully adoption, so we can make some updates to the policy. But I wanted to give you some time to have it and review it, and please reach out to me if you have questions.
Very good.
Thank you.
I have been reading it. It's slow.
Takes a while, yes.
Thank you very much. Anyone have questions for Jenny? Just get a hold, make an appointment, come in, send your recommendations, suggestions, and Terry, we will get with you. He's gone. Great. Number 15. Did I miss something? No. Recommendation to, you should have all received that Brittany is leaving us. She has an opportunity to expand her horizons. So I wish her good luck with all that, although we're going to miss her having her here. But we'd like to get a recommendation to fill the position of planning and zoning administrator.
Mr. Mayor, what's the technical problem if we don't accept her resignation? We've never done that. It's about
We
time
should try
we do that, maybe.
it.
Then we get to keep her?
Yeah, that's a good question. Where's the lawyer when you need him?
Maybe we can postpone this until the May meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, May, June. Well,
We joke about it, but I really appreciate Brittany, and she hit the ground running when she came. She didn't stay very long, and I was surprised to hear she was leaving us, but she's been a real asset to the commission and the city, I believe. Sorry to see her go. Saying that, I'll move that we accept her resignation and authorize the um, staff to interview the position.
I'll second. Regrettably.
Any further discussion, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I expressed to Brittany that I'm sorry to see her go, but I wish her well and I'm excited for her opportunity, so. Okay, old business. The American Tower, you should have all gotten a lease agreement when you got here today. It was in the PDF.
It was. I do apologize that there weren't printed copies in your packet. So I don't know if the council has had a chance to review the information. Part of this, I wanted to provide this information to our new council for some with our newer council members. So you had an opportunity to review the information. We've been discussing a lease amendment or extension with American Tower for about a year now. And with COVID and everything that happened in 2020, this just kind of went on the back burner. But we'd like to move forward with working with them to finalize the amendment. So my proposal, my request to the council tonight was going to be for me to work with our city attorney to work through those details with American Tower and bring back a final document to the council for approval. Prior to this, we've been kind of going back and forth at the council level about some of the details, and I thought I think it's getting too complex. So I'd like to work with Tom Pearson and American Tower and then just bring you a final document that satisfies staff and American Tower.
If you look at page 2, the back of page 2, it says notes from the August 4th, 2020. There's some questions that have been placed in there from Councilor Jacobson and other ones from our city administrator. So if anybody has questions when you read through this, please submit them to Jenny. So a couple of the questions I have were actually taught by Tom or Don. So I didn't have to, he did it.
Yep, so I'll make sure that Tom Pearson goes through those specific questions, but certainly let me know if you think of other ones or have other questions about it. But that was going to be my request tonight, was to let us kind of work through those details.
And I'm sorry if you said this, Jane, but this will be for next month's, this will be in the agenda for next month then, or?
It might take us a couple months to get through a little back and forth with American Tower on the language, but we would we'd work through that and then bring you back a final, hopefully by early spring at the latest.
Okay.
So can we get a motion to give Jenny or the city administrator and city attorney the approval to do so, as she was explaining?
Yeah. I will move that we authorize Jenny and the legal counsel for the city to contact the antenna company and enter into negotiations on details and bring their resolution of the matter back to the council at possibly the next meeting.
So second.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And golf cart ordinance.
In your packet, I just have another update as I provided to the council last month with some additional information on the things that Amber and I are working on. We're focusing on the golf cart ordinance piece of this right now and not the trail use policy because we don't have a trail in place yet and will be some time before we do. We'd like to finalize the ordinance format and language and bring it to the council in the next month so that we can schedule a public hearing in March. And then we'd like to pilot a project over the summer to see how golf carts are being used within the city and patterns, use areas where they park, all those types of things, to then hopefully use that in how we apply and create a trail use policy for next year. So that would be our goal, was we'll create a structure of how we're going to do that project and how we'll roll that out this summer. And we'll present that to the council in the spring. So just an update at this time. Feel free to let me know if you have questions.
So there is a ordinance written up, but
Yes,
if I can
yes,
get a copy of that.
absolutely, yes. Will do.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for Jenny on that at this time? Okay. Very well. Council reports. I have nothing. So. Don?
No, it's just, I wish that Brittany would stay. Other than that,
I don't think, yeah. We have a few weeks to pick on her yet.
we will.
Ross?
I just have a couple things. One I'm not gonna labor on too long, but I was a little disappointed in the last council meeting and the way that it was presented, that Mr. Landers was kind of disciplined during an open meeting. I think that that was unfair. I know I went through the minutes. I didn't see anywhere where it was presented about the golf cart issue to it, but I know he's got a ton of time. I know he was, from when I was on the meeting and from going through the minutes, and I just think that that was, we would maybe owe him a little bit of apology or a little bit inappropriate to somebody who's volunteering their time to the city to have that done in an open meeting. That's all I'm gonna really say on that. The other thing that I would like to discuss is picking up the packet on the weekend. And now that we're actually moved one day closer, now that we're on Tuesday, doesn't leave a lot of time to get through everything. So I was wondering if we would like to see, I kind of briefly talked to Jenny, it's not gonna be a problem, is to have them packets available to us like on the Wednesday before. So it just gives us more time if we got questions to contact staff and kind of get our questions answered. I don't know how you guys feel. That's.
Well, I know this month was tough because Monday was a holiday.
Yep,
That- yeah.
that taken in consideration, that's just a one, but even still, it just leaves you 2 days to kind of get through everything and.
Mark, what do you think?
Well, if it isn't, for me, I got it by email in the first place on Thursday, I think it was. Thursday, was it?
It was
forget.
Friday.
Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then to have the weekend to look it over was good, but like you, since it was Monday, it was a holiday, we couldn't really ask any questions. But if it's going to be work, to move it up somewhat, then I feel sort of bad that, it's hard enough to get everything accurate in the first place. You get changes along the way anyway.
I would agree with that. I mean,
Yeah.
If it's gonna take a lot of extra work, then I just.
Yeah, if it's
it
a
is
lot of
nice to
extra
have A
work.
little extra time, especially on simpler nights, it's not so bad, but if you have more complex things to do, and if you've got things going that weekend, it kind of. But I'll go with the
Yeah.
council, how the council feels on it.
I think Jenny and Jonathan said that they could try and get it out on Thursday. But Wednesday could be tough because they have the meeting,
Mhm.
the last meeting in the week before, and then you get in your minutes and you're getting all your documents that if whatever transpired, they're printed up, ready to go, make sure all those are right. What I do is when I get the PDF, I go through the agenda and I look at the items that are going to be the most difficult, and then I try and read those on my computer at home. So that's what I've done but sometimes it does get close. So
And I'm not good with PD. I mean, I like to have paper in front of me to read so I can make notes.
Thursdays won't impact the rest of the schedule too much. So if we can try that and see if that's an improvement, and then we can still work with that. If we push it too far sooner, then it does impact
Well, and I don't want-
commission
you gotta
schedules
do a lot
and
of
staff
changes and
reports and
whatever,
things
so.
like that. But we can work on, doing it Thursday by end of day. That should give you at least one more day to start.
Yeah. no,
And
I-
then let's see how,
see how that
just let me
works
know
and-
if it's still an issue, because I understand. It's a lot to go through.
Well, sometimes it's not a problem.
Okay, sounds good.
anything else?
Nope.
Mark?
No, nothing.
Very good. Announcements, upcoming meeting dates are on there, February 2nd, 3rd, planning and zoning, public works. So, and this is all on the website too. I would encourage people to use the website. The data's there, the information's there. If people read the website or go there or something's confusing, let staff know so we can make it unconfusing. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye.